I don't know if you saw the recent news, but EA just shut down Ridgeline Games, the newly formed studio that was working on a brand new single-player Battlefield experience. EA earlier this week laid off 5% of its workforce. That's 670 layoffs, which just stinks. A few days before that, we saw the Ridgeline Games creative director Marcus Leto resigning from the company, and while he said it was of his own accord, he did also tweet out mentioning he's going to be taking some time away from games to see what, if anything, he wants to do next. Doesn't bode incredibly well. For my Halo viewers, you'll remember Marcus is the co-creator of the Halo franchise and was the creative art director at Bungie until 2012. EA has a lot of studios right now working on this new big Battlefield platform, and it's all headed up by Vince Zampella of Respawn Entertainment. Apparently, some of the Ridgeline team members will be joining Ripple Effect, and Criterion will be taking over the single-player development for this Battlefield project. We also learned amidst all this big announcement from the PR release that the next Battlefield apparently is making meaningful progress, and right now it's the largest Battlefield team in franchise history. Doesn't feel very good to read that after an entire studio was just shut down. There's even more Battlefield news to talk about here. Leaks from Tom Henderson are basically saying that October 2025 will be the release date of the next big Battlefield title. That could change. It's going to be set in the modern era a little bit before 2042. It will be 64 players, and it will have a 4-class system, an overhaul to the destruction system, as well as a free Battle Royale mode that will operate very similarly to the way Warzone does. I imagine EA has seen the success of the Warzone product as an incredible gateway into the premium multiplayer Call of Duty experience, and they probably want to emulate something similar. Now, it wasn't just the Battlefield series that was hit with these layoffs. Respawn Entertainment also saw layoffs as well as project cancellations. Most notably, the new Star Wars FPS game that Respawn was working on has been canceled, and apparently the rumor was it was a Mandalorian or bounty hunter themed game. Now, if that doesn't scream like printing money, I don't know what does, and I'm very concerned to see something like that getting shut down. Ultimately, the single-player side of Battlefield has never been the draw for most players. I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed the single-player entries, but I probably wouldn't go out of my way to really expect and want something like that, especially where the franchise is right now, at least in the state that it's in right now. However, when I heard Marcus Leto was going to be the creative director at Ridgeline, I had extremely high hopes, and now I really don't imagine what they were working on is probably going to be carried forward. It is quite a bummer. Now, I do have some concerns, honestly, about this new and robust Battlefield platform they keep talking about. We've seen lately with games like Halo Infinite that over-ambitious live service goals can make meeting deliverables almost impossible. Not to mention, there's been a very big trend lately where players are gravitating towards fun and focused experiences, even if they released a few years ago. Okay, Battlefield 5, for the record, double the concurrent player numbers right now of 2042 on Steam. That is proof to how enjoyable Battlefield 5 ultimately became. It released in 2018, and look at these Steam numbers. And if you want evidence of the fun-focused experiences, look no further than Helldivers 2 and BattleBit Remastered. Meanwhile, EA is talking about doubling down on their live service experiences and putting more resources towards these big, ambitious projects while stopping the pursuit of new IP. Everything that I took away from the EA call is that they're trying to minimize risk, any sort of financial risk whatsoever, and they're pulling away projects that are not guaranteed successes. If they're shutting down the Mandalorian FPS style project, I mean, that just tells you, A, it could be the stigma in the industry against single-player FPS games, or it could be that they're just unwilling to take a chance, especially since the new Star Wars Jedi game did incredibly well. I'm just shocked to see this news. When it comes to Battlefield as a fan, Battlefield 4 and 3 are my favorite of all time, and I feel like we've just been continuing to try and chase a game as good as those for the last how many years? And so I just truly hope this new gigantic live service platform they're building for Battlefield is good and is worth it, because we may still end up being in a 2042 situation with a game that was way too ambitious, had so many people working on it, but it overall was just too much to deliver on. And ultimately, my heart goes out to all the developers who've been affected by these layoffs so far this year, and the many, many thousands who were affected last year. What a challenging and turbulent time to be in the industry. It is so tough, and I just feel for those people a lot, especially with cost of living right now, man. Like, it is a crazy time to lose your job. You know, as the player and as the consumer, I just want to see the best Battlefield game possible. And by communicating and reacting to these things, hopefully we can shape a little bit of the feedback that the developers and community managers are looking at and relaying that to the leadership on these big projects. And if you are curious, jumping back to Battlefield 5 for a second, the game is phenomenal right now. You can get these Battlefield games pretty much on sale everywhere, and it is a testament to 5 just being in such a wonderful place that you've got crazy concurrent numbers like this over on Steam. It doesn't include the EA app, it doesn't include the Game Pass people, and it is, look, 2042, I enjoy that game, but it absolutely is a product of the live service era. It has plenty of the bloat and the problems and the issues that arose from it. And I think that's why you can directly look at the numbers and see why the older titles have done so well in contrast. What do you think of the recent Battlefield news? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.